did then and there while operating a vehicle and after having been involved in an accident that the defendant knew was reasonably likely to result in injury to or death of a person, and while knowing that an accident had occurred, intentionally and knowingly failed to provide reasonable assistance to Jeffrey Schaefer, hereinafter styled the complainant, and that the defendant did not make arrangements for the transportation of the complainant to a physician or hospital for medical treatment, and it was apparent that treatment was necessary and the accident resulted in the death of the complainant against the peace and dignity of the state, signed by the foreman of the grand jury.
To which the defendant pleads?
Not guilty.
Okay. You may have a seat now. Is the state ready for their opening?
State's ready.
Okay. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. All right, folks. This is what we talked about. Remember everything we talked about in Bordar. That was just yesterday. And what did we talk about? Cover-ups. That's what this entire case is about. A cover-up by this defendant. So what you're going to learn is on September 21st, 2022, there was a crash on Culebra coming around the bend, about the 4,000 block. Kept going. What you're going to hear from the evidence is that the complainant, Mr. Jeffrey Schaefer, also known as the bike guy, was just riding his bike, trying to cross the street. When this defendant came around the corner and hit him with his Volkswagen Golf. And what the evidence will show is it looks like a monster truck ran over the front of that car. The hood is caved in, the windshield is caved in, and the sunroof is completely caved in. Think about the impact that takes, how fast you have to be going. The windshield, you can't even see through it. So the evidence will show he knew he hit something. Didn't stop. Now, that's just the night of September 21st, 2022. But where's the cover-up? Well, that starts when this defendant, on September 22nd, just the next day, reports his car is stolen. It's the best way to get out of it. Now, when he reports the car stolen, simultaneously, Isabella Gongora is coming back from dropping her kids off at school and sees an abandoned vehicle, trashed, completely destroyed, in a place where it shouldn't be. So she calls it in. This is happening simultaneously with each other. Officers respond to the abandoned vehicle, and what do they see? The keys are in the vehicle. So whoever was driving it had the keys. But what else do the officers see? Specifically, Officer Madonio, who you will hear from, sees blood on the exterior door handle. Okay? So what happens? They start processing the vehicle. Okay? They're trying to figure out. They take the keys to the defendant's home. Mind you, this is all happening within 2 hours of each other. He made that call for the stolen vehicle from his house. You will see that body-worn camera. As soon as Officer Madonio finds the keys, he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know it's been connected to this crash. Okay? So he takes the keys to the defendant's house, knocks on the door, rings the doorbell. He doesn't come to the door. And the evidence will show he was home. By his own account, he was home when the officer went there. He says, well, he couldn't have come. He did. Trying to get as far away from that car as possible. Now what ends up happening is the officer who took the stolen vehicle report, he's a deputy, Deputy Mejia, notices neighbors across the street. At some point, the neighbors say, Well, we looked at our security cameras. And the evidence is going to show that at 9:21, his car was in his driveway. Our accident, our crash where Mr. Schaefer is hit and left as roadkill, happens at 9:43. When they check the cameras at 10:01, his car's not there anymore. Now you might be asking yourself, well, how do we connect it? How do we connect the dots? And that's where this piece of evidence comes in. And what the evidence is going to show is that the neighborhood where this defendant left the car abandoned is the same neighborhood where he was on his way to a house party. Now, the two individuals who were at that house party, you're going to hear from them. And then what they're going to say is that this defendant showed up, was shaken up, and told them, I just got into a wreck. This is a case about connecting the dots. This is a case about seeing through a cover-up. And what the evidence will show at the end of the day is that this defendant hit Jeffrey Schaefer on Culebra the night of September 21st, 2022, and left him there. When the law commands and demands that we stop, because it's a privilege to be on these roadways. At the end of this trial, we'll be asking you to render a guilty verdict. And I think the evidence is going to make that easy for y'all. Thank you.
Defense?
A comedy of errors turned quickly into a tragedy of mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here to tell you today or any day this week that what happened to Jeffrey Schaefer is not a tragedy. It is a tragedy, and his loved ones should be ashamed and upset and angered at the selective investigation that Detective Powlick did on that evening. Because what happens when the officer does a selective investigation? They miss evidence, they jump to the wrong conclusions, and more importantly, they mislead the prosecutors to what actually happened on September 21st, 2022. They fell into the tunnel vision trap, is essentially what happened. And what you're going to hear during this trial is not only what evidence did Detective Powlick collect that evening, but more importantly, what evidence did he miss in his investigation? Because I want you guys to keep in mind, this offense happens on September 21st, 2022. Nothing is given to the Bexar County District Attorney's Office until spring of 2024. So we have to ask ourselves, what was the officer doing when he's allegedly investigating this case? And I can tell you, not much of what he's doing. We can tell you a little bit about what he's doing, but more importantly, we're going to be focusing in this trial on what did the officer miss. The detective miss. So starting from the accident scene, you're going to see pictures from the accident scene of that evening. You're going to see red light cameras in some of the pictures. You're going to see traffic cameras. And while this is a dark road of Culebra, you're also going to see in these pictures the businesses that are on this street in this area. Now, at the time that Detective Powlick starts his investigation, he has limited information on who he's going to be looking for. But that's where the detective's training and experience should be kicking in. He should know the bare minimum is to go around and start looking at the scene and finding out, are there any witnesses to what happened that night? You're also going to ask, I'm also going to ask him whether or not did he reach out to the different individuals that called 911, not only about what they actually saw that evening, but more importantly, also information about what was the traffic like on Culebra Road at that time. Was it heavily trafficked? Was it light traffic? Any other details that can help this detective as he continues his investigation. Then we're going to turn to this alleged abandoned vehicle. As the prosecutor just said, it was an abandoned vehicle. These mistakes, this comedy of errors, doesn't just stop on that evening. It continues throughout the entire course of this investigation. They had the vehicle. At some point in time, the state of Texas, through the detective for San Antonio Police Department, took custody of this particular vehicle that they claim is the one that was used when Jeffrey Schaefer was killed that night. So then we just ask ourselves, from basic knowledge of how to run an investigation, did you collect the evidence? More importantly, not only did you collect the evidence, did you preserve the evidence? And then after you preserved the evidence, did you test the evidence? And that's going to be for any evidence that's going to be inside the vehicle or outside the vehicle or anywhere around. More importantly, you're also going to see on whether or not it's the body-worn camera of the officer that responded to take the information of the abandoned vehicle, or you're going to see it in the pictures from the CSI officer that came out to the scene. Did they go around the neighborhood to anybody in the neighborhood and start looking for cameras, start looking to see if there was any witnesses that when this vehicle was left there? Now, it would be speculation at some point in time as to whether or not that there were any cameras in the neighborhood, but guess what? You look at one of the pictures and you can see a camera in the top right corner pointing down to exactly where the car was left. So again, you would think that this is funny, how many errors that were done in this investigation, but it's no laughing matter. A person died as a result of what happened that evening. Now, what ends up happening is when you do this limited investigation, you start making assumptions, you start making conclusions, and you end up misleading the prosecutors into this narrow tunnel vision. I'm going to make a case that's going to go along with Kenneth Relitz. The detective goes and gets cell records. He gets cell records to show the activity and the location of where my client is that evening. But does he go and actually get a warrant for the cell phone to actually see what people are communicating about? He ends up misinterpreting statements. The detective says that my client was a liar because my client said that he went to bed that evening, but the cell records show you were active on the cell phone up to a different time. Well, who goes to bed and doesn't use their cell phone? There are some people that are on the cell phone when they're in bed. Now, there's going to be lay witnesses that are going to come in and testify. I won't know who until the state of Texas calls these witnesses, but I have a general idea. But remember, you as the jury are going to be the exclusive judges of the credibility of all of the witnesses and the evidence that's going to be presented in this trial. So what's going to go into credibility? What are the motives for the person to lie? How are they acting? Does their story match the story that they've given at other times? Those are the things that I'm going to be asking you to look at when you're determining whether or not my client is guilty or not guilty of this offense. After you see all of the evidence, I'm going to be asking you to ask two questions of yourself. One, did the state of Texas prove beyond a reasonable doubt what vehicle struck Jeffrey Schaefer that evening? And two, did the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt who was actually driving in the vehicle? These are two major questions. I'm not disputing that Jeffrey Schaefer died that evening. The question is, how did it happen and who caused it? Sorry, not who caused it, but who left the scene. Now, after listening to all of this evidence, when you're going back in deliberations, if you're still questioning what actually happened that evening, I'm going to ask that you find my client not guilty. Thank you.
Okay, state.
Yes, Judge. The state calls Rosalia Hubbs, and before we start the direct, can we set up the well for a demonstrative?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, I'm just trying to get myself
We
actually.
usually do it. We usually do it here.
Yeah, that's fine. Right there's fine. And for the record, I'm just drawing a line across the middle of the page. And then for the record, I'm just gonna be marking 11 points on the line.
Have a seat, please. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please lower your hand. Please state your name and spell it out for the recording.
Rosalia Haas, I-O-V-A-L-I-A, last name H-U-D-D-S.
Please state your name, proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. And then for the record, mark the demonstrative as stated to 24. And then just for housekeeping and judicial economy, I'm going to be creating a live demonstrative throughout all of our witnesses. We would ask to preserve the demonstrative after every witness.
Okay.
Please tell us your name.
My name is Rosalia Haas.
And Ms. Hubbs, where do you work?
I work for the City of San Antonio Police Department Communications Unit.
Now, you say you work for the City of San Antonio's Police Department Communications Unit. What is that?
That's the answering point for 911 calls, non-emergency calls, and non-emergency calls.
And could you, and I know this might sound, I think we all have a general idea of what the 911 calls are, but could you explain your role with the communications department with the City of San Antonio's 911?
Yes, I'm responsible for the security, storage, and dissemination of all the records that our unit generates. That includes 911 calls, non-emergency calls, text to 911, and radio transmission.
Now, generally I understand that when we call 911, right, we know we speak to a 911 operator. But how are those calls recorded?
There's a software that automatically records every call that comes to our unit.
And how many 911 operators are working at any given time taking calls?
Depends on the shift, because they got 3 shifts, and the A shift is the one that needs more. The unit has around 200 call takers.
And what time is the A shift usually at?
They work between 6 a.m. and 2 p.m.
Now, when we're talking about 911 calls, do you have personal knowledge of how these 911 calls are stored with the City of San Antonio?
Yes.
And would you consider yourself, I know you mentioned that you're in charge of the storage, but specifically, would you consider yourself a records custodian for the city of, yes?
Yes, I am the custodian of records for San Antonio Police Department Communications Unit.
And do you have personal knowledge of 911 calls that were made on the night of September 21st, 2022?
The one related to this case?
Yes.
Yes.
And have you had a chance to listen to those calls prior to your testimony today?
Yes.
And when you listen to those calls, are you able to recognize some of the voices in those calls?
We only recognize our call takers.
Yes. And when you listen to those calls, were you able to recognize your call takers?
Yes.
And after listening to
able to recognize the what?
the call takers,
Thank you.
and after having listened to those calls, did you have personal knowledge that those calls, specifically the ones on the exhibit I'm about to show you, were kept in the regular course of business?
Yes.
And had they been made and changed and altered in any way?
No.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Now, for the record, I am handing the witness what has been pre-marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 1.
Yes,
Ms. Hubbs, do you recognize State's Exhibit 1?
yes,
Is this the calls that we've been talking about here today?
yes,
This disc containing those calls?
yes,
And again, you've had the chance to review this disc,
yes,
and these calls were kept in the regular course of business,
yes,
and they have not been changed and altered in any way?
no,
And you have personal knowledge that these calls were made at or near the time of September 21st, 2022, at around 9:40 p.m.?
yes, but there was another one that was missing.
Yes, and that other one was
Yes.
the next day on September 22nd.
Yes,
But most of them were September 21st, 2022, around 9:30 p.m.
correct.
And then the other one was what day and what time?
I need to check that.
But the date,
I think it was next day.
September 22nd, 2022?
Yes,
And you've listened to that call too?
yes, I did.
And that has not been changed and altered in any way?
No,
State offer states one in evidence tendering to the defense for inspection and objection.
Okay, that states one is admitted into evidence.
And just a moment, Judge. Okay. May we publish, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
And if I may have some time, because we were having some technical difficulties, and I'm concerned that it may not work, but we're gonna try it.
Do your best.
That's all on over here. Your Honor, there are 6 calls on this disc. I'm going to publish the first 5.
Okay.
And may I proceed in that fashion?
Yes, you may.
I believe it's going to be both police and EMS. I'm right here on Culebra. I'm not sure if they've already called, but somebody's been hit and run over.
Okay. Person has been hit?
Yes, they're laying actually in the street on, I don't think they're conscious, honestly.
Okay. Oh, is the vehicle still there?
There's 2 vehicles, and someone, they're just laying in the ground right now.
Okay, did you see the accident?
I did not, but, a car starting to drive off, so I'm not sure if they're going to stay or not.
Did you see the hit?
No, this had happened right when I turned.
Okay. So you don't.
Yeah, I'm blocking off, there's a truck, there's 2 trucks actually, so I'm blocking off the body. There's another car that just got in front of me right now to just kind of get them.
Okay, is it a male or female?
I think it's a male, I'm not sure, but it's, they're on a bike, or they were on a bike because the bike is like totally crushed.
Okay, can I get your name?
Eloisa?
Okay. What's a good phone number?
210-314-9518.
Okay. Are they moving? Are they?
They're not moving, there's 2 gentlemen, I don't know, honestly, I don't know, I'm about to get off, but it looks like nobody wants to get near him, because I don't think he's moving, he or she.
We're getting officers in this office.
Okay, thank you.
Now, before continuing to the other calls, Ms. Hubbs, I want to ask you, do you recall what time that call was made on September 21st, 2022?
yes, it was 9:43 p.m.
And do you recall if that was the first 911 call that came out related to this case?
Yes, it was the first one.
And for the record, we are working on the demonstrative that through the live testimony of the witness, the first 911 call came in at 9:43 p.m. Now, Judge, may I resume publishing?
Yes, you may.
San Antonio Police Department, South GD Police, Fire, or EMS?
EMS, I'm out.
All right, let me get you over to EMS. Stay on the line.
They need to stop traffic or they're gonna hit him again.
Fire and EMS, how can we help you?
Yes, somebody was just hit on a bike on,
Oh, whereabout, ma'am?
by Creekside, the neighborhood Creekside,
Okay, hold on a second. Now, do you have the,
between Creekside and Westover Hills.
okay, what's the closest intersection for us? Look, I think we gotta call that area, I just wanna make sure it's the same one.
It's right here by there's 7-Eleven.
All right.
He's right in the middle of the road and there's no incoming traffic and there's no cops here or anything.
Okay, now I show you go Culebra, that's what's throwing me off, I just wanna make sure the streets you gave me were.
Yes, it's on Culebra.
Okay, all right, let me see where you're at, all right, and what kind of vehicle is he on a motorcycle or a bicycle?
He's laying on the floor.
Okay, oh, so he wasn't on a bicycle or anything?
He was on a bike, he just talking.
Okay, a bicycle or a motorcycle?
It looks like it's a bicycle. It's right here in the middle of the intersection.
Okay, man, what do you see?
Police and EMS. There was a car accident off of Culebra. Okay, Culebra and where? Like Culebra and like Tesla, like going into Tesla, like and almost like by Westover Hills. Like it's like Westover Hills and Culebra, right around that intersection. Oh, and yes, that's because I have officers in route Culebra and Brooklyn area. Yes, that's right. Yes, my officers need my voice. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
San Antonio Police Department, this is GD Police, Fire, or EMS?
I think police and EMS.
Let me get you over to EMS. Stay on the line.
Thank you.
San Antonio Fire and EMS, what's the address of your emergency?
Oh, crap. I'm on Culebra, right before Westover Hills. Let me get you an address.
Okay.
9022 Culebra Road.
9022 Culebra, okay, what's going on there?
There was an accident. I was just driving down the road towards Westover Hills, and there was a person on the road. I don't know if they got hit by a car, or they were just lying on the road.
So, did you see a car pulled over, or you saw a guy laying in the road?
Yes. There's a guy laying on the road, and there's like 2 or 3 cars pulled over. I think the person on the road got hit by a car.
Oh my God.
San Antonio 911, this is Devon, do you need police, fire, or EMS?
Police and EMS, I don't know if anybody reported, an accident on Culebra and Westover Hills. Someone got hit on a bicycle and is laying in the middle of the street. Yeah, it looks like he's deceased also.
Culebra and Westover Hills?
Yes.
No. Is the vehicle
No.
still there?
He was on a bicycle. The bicycle's in the middle of the street. There's some people pulled over. I rolled down the window, asked them if they called 911. It looked like they didn't speak any English. So I don't know. Did they try to say they were trying to call someone? No. Yeah, they was like, who do we call?
We have somebody at Culebra and Grissom.
Grissom. Well, yeah, that's Grissom. It's in between Grissom and, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we have EMS on the way.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No, so before I let you go, I want to ask you, how do you know that the first call came in at 9:43?
Because the key card was created at the time. and
Because of what?
The key card, the IDR key card was created at that time, and it's the first.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
And for the record, I'm handing the witness what's been pre-marked to states 1A. Do you recognize states 1A?
Yes,
And what is states 1A?
this is the incident detail report, key card, or IDR.
And you can tell by looking at that the first call comes in at 9:43
Yes.
p.m.
And 15 seconds.
Thank you, ma'am. Just 1 second, Judge. Now, we talked about that other call on the, we'll talk about that other call on the disc that we did not publish for the jurors. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And what day do you recall that call coming in? I would seeing a copy of that incident detail report refresh your recollection?
yes.
For the record, I'm handing the witness what has been pre-marked as states 1B.
Yeah, it was September 22nd.
And let me ask you that question. So just look at that report, and then when your memory's been refreshed, just look up at me and then answer it. So has your memory been refreshed?
Yes,
So what was the date that that other call came in?
September 22nd, 2022.
And do you recall what time?
8:23, I think. Yes.
Okay. Thank you,
That
sir.
morning.
In the morning?
Yes.
And do you, when you listened to that call, did you remember who the call taker's name was?
I see it here. It's Raven.
That was the 911 call taker.
Yes.
Do you know who the person making the call was?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It's on the key card.
Thank you, Ms. Hubbs. Just one moment, Judge. And for the record, we are updating the live demonstrative to show when this specific 911 call came in, the time and the date of that specific 911 call that she just mentioned. The live testimony. Take the demonstrative down. And do you know the county that those calls were made in?
Back County.
Bear County, Texas?
Yes.
Nothing further from the witness, Your Honor. We pass the witness.
Defense?
Good morning. My name is Jessica Gonzalez. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. If
Okay.
you don't understand my questions, just let me know and I'll be happy to rephrase, okay?
Okay.
You stated that the 911 calling system uses a recording software.
Yes.
Okay. Other than making an actual recording of the phone call, does this recording system also gather any sort of contact information from the callers?
It's the call taker that asked the question.
Okay. So when the call taker gathers information, if there's any names that are given or phone numbers, that would be included in the IDR reports, correct?
Yes.
And also you were talking about timestamps, correct?
Yes.
That information is in the IDR?
Yes.
Now, do detectives or police officers that are investigating any offenses, do they have access to those IDRs in these 911 calls?
They have access to the IDR, the officers.
Okay. Do they ever get access to the 911 call?
The detective, yes.
The detective. Okay, so the detectives that are investigating the case have the ability to follow up for any additional investigation from the witnesses in the 911 calls, correct?
That, I'm not sure, but I think that's how it is.
Okay. So for instance, they would be able to get more details than other than what's provided in these 911 calls, correct?
I'm not sure. I'm not a detective.
So that would be a question for a detective, to ask the detective what sort of additional details you did to gather in your investigation, right?
Their investigation. Because
Correct.
We
Their-
don't investigate.
Okay, their investigation. Okay. I'll pass the witness.
State,
No further questions, Your Honor. May the witness be excused?
yeah, this witness is excused. Thank you very much.
Is she subject to recall?
Because you already had the.
Yeah.
No need for
Okay,
recall.
she's excused. Okay, state, call your next witness.
May we approach briefly?
Okay. The next witness may take a little bit of time, so rather than work you through, go ahead and take your lunch hour right now. Just be back, it's 12 noon, be back at 1 p.m. I'll see you back here at 1 p.m. Thank you.
All rise, jury. First row. And just to address everybody over here, when they turn these sounds on, it doesn't stop your noise from coming forward. They're still taking your record.
Okay, we're back on the record. Now note that we're outside the presence of the jury. Go ahead.
Okay, Your Honor. There was something brought to my attention.
Okay, you speak up.
It was brought to my attention